Any great endeavour is always going to be messy in the beginning. There are lessons to learn, and overcoming conditioning will rear its ugly head, because we're all conditioned. And it's really, really important to remember that the conditioning that you have experienced and the Faustian bargains that you have allowed to happen, all of the reasons why you have tried to protect yourself and get a sense of security, it's all been useful. We don't act randomly. we don't act just because. We have motivations, and we have wants and needs and desires. We're complex human beings. We're not just sort of one-dimensional machines that say yes and no. We have emotions, and if you're online, then all of the differences between people, and there are many, will be amplified, mostly for dramatic effect, for political effect. You know, there are people who want you to do things in a certain way, want you to do certain things for their own reasons. And we negotiate the world by agreeing or disagreeing to behave in certain ways. So that's always with you. Don't ever think that it just sort of gets switched off. The scripts in your head and in your heart, they're always running. Whether you're asleep or awake, we want to feel included. We want to feel secure. We want to have some routine, some stability to our lives. And we will behave in ways that can be incredibly counterproductive to ourselves, but we want to be included. We don't want to be isolated from the pack. We don't want to be a heretic. You know, people were burnt at the stake for believing in a different conception of cosmological models, that, you know, the Earth wasn't at the center of the solar system. Look what happens to people who are heretics, who negate the mainstream narrative. We actually, genuinely, we have it relatively easy compared to our forebears, but we have whole new challenges that never before in history have we been so exposed to so many people and the onslaught of information. We've overloaded our brains in the last few decades. And if you want to move through life peacefully and joyfully in beautiful surroundings like these, if you want to truly move through life feeling fulfilled and peaceful, you have to accept a certain amount of messiness. There's no neat way of doing it, I'm afraid. Believe me, I've tried to find nice, tidy, orderly, organized ways of doing things, but I'm afraid it just doesn't work. You can't, because the thing is, there are other people in the world, and you have to be flexible if you want to be joyful. I mean, again, I reiterate, whenever I say you have to do this, you have to do that, I'm not giving you an order. What I'm saying is that whether we like it or not, there are other people with their motivations and their fuck-ups, believe me, and they're plenty. And when I'm walking back, doing these routes back from my therapy session, it does help me to put things into perspective, because a lot of the tidying that I do, the perfectionism and obsessive control freakery at times, I realize that most of it doesn't matter. It's me trying to order and organize my life, but it's very narrowing. It's imprisoning, and I realize I've done an awful lot of that to myself, and it stifles creativity constantly trying to fit yourself into other people's blocks, into other people's paradigms, into what other people say they want you to do. That's why I say that saying no is a really important thing to learn, because pan round. I love it here. I do. I really love it here. The more that I go to therapy and the more that I realise that I've made these decisions to please other people, I've put myself in a mess. You can't deny who you are forever unless you want some severe repercussions and some severe self-loathing. Yeah, you can't hide from yourself. No matter where you are, you can't outrun yourself. Your body is your temple. And what that means is you have to treat it with respect, both physically and mentally. And let's add a third one in for good measure, emotionally. It's a bizarre and tumultuous path, this life really is. But you know what, I'm really starting to accept it, to accept and embrace the mess. I've done a lot of talking, but not very much doing on these fronts of getting myself truly sorted out. But as I frequently discuss with my therapist, it's a process. And that's why patience is a virtue, because you have to absorb everything, and only then you decide what it is that you want to do, how you want to do it, who you want to do it with. That's when you become an adult.